Hey there LEGO fans, welcome back. Alex here. In this video we're going to be doing a build and comparative review of the newest LEGO Yoda. This is set number 75255 and has 1,771 pieces and retails for $100. While making my purchase, I did receive a free LEGO set. This is definitely one of the better ones I have seen. This is the micro scale Battle of Endor 20th Anniversary Edition set. Not bad at all. So if you're in the market for getting some LEGO Star Wars sets, make sure you act now, and if it's $100 or more, you definitely will get this while supplies last. This being a comparative review, what we will be doing is comparing it with, of course, the original Yoda, which is a UCS Yoda from 2002. He's looking on nervously to see if this is going to be an improvement on his original self. Let's go ahead and get this thing built and see what they look like side by side. And we are back, and here are the two Yodas side by side. Now, the one on the right from 2002 is set number 7194, and this retailed for $100 back in the day, and it has 1,075 pieces. Now, fast forward to now, the new Yoda also retails for $100. However, the piece count is significantly higher at 1,771 pieces. So how did the LEGO Group manage to keep the price the same after 17 years and add nearly 700 elements? Well, the answer is simple. If you look at the 2002 model, well, you'll notice he's very blocky looking, and the reason for that is because he is comprised of very large bricks in comparison to the new model. A lot of 2x2s, 2x4s, 1x4s are used, whereas the new model uses a lot of plate elements that are just stacked over each other all the way around. In fact, I think the largest elements comprising the new Yoda are the 23 green translucent elements used in his lightsaber. So curiosity has got the best of me. I've got my scale out, and we're going to weigh each of these models to see how much value we're getting as far as the amount of plastic goes, right? So the 2002 model goes first. Yoda weighs 3 pounds and half of an ounce. Okay. All right, let's try you now. 2019 Yoda. Less. He is 2 pounds, 13 and a half ounces. Not much. That's, what, 3 ounces is all that is different between the weight of these two. So if you think of in terms of material that LEGO is using, not piece count, these are very similar. And I think that's the biggest reason why they were able to keep the price at $100 17 years later. Now let's take a look at the approach to the build. These are very different in the approach that the designer took. The original from 2002 here was built on a grid system. What I mean by that, we're going to have to look at the instruction booklet here really quick. But every single page is a grid. It tells you exactly what elements are needed, and it tells you where they go. And it's like that for the entire book. Very, very simplistic approach. It helped me out quite a bit. I loved it. In fact, if I take the Yoda here and I hold his head so it doesn't fall off here, but you can see he underneath his robe, there's nothing going on in there. It's just bricks stacked on top of bricks from the bottom to the top. The 2019 Yoda uses what is called the snot approach, the studs not on top technique, which allows the builder to build the Lego in multiple directions, and that is why you see the top of the Lego elements on every single side of our new Yoda here. Now I'm going to take Yoda apart just a little bit to show you what is on the inside. Now we take this part off. Oop, this guy always sticks. There we go. Back together. But that's all it really is the interior is this Technic skeleton. And it definitely is a skeleton. I like the fact that they used white elements, you know, like bones. Pretty funny, right? But that's all it really is. And now you can see all of these small elements, all the layers and layers of plates in here to make this possible. But that's the snot technique that allows you to build in multiple directions. And the result, although it's very simple, it looks complex. When you put this back on here, it looks like the designer is just brilliant. And he's made this amazing discovery with technique of building. But in actuality, the original is actually a bit more complex in my opinion. Let's look at some of the features of these two models. There's not going to be a lot of them because, well, they're models. They're supposed to be on a shelf, looking good and gathering dust. The 2002 model does come with Yoda's flute or whistle around his neck. His head does move around, although sometimes it gets stuck a little bit because of this chain around it. Gets a little snagged sometimes. But the newer 2019 model also has his head move around, although it's a little bit clumsy sometimes because it's hitting some elements around it, so it's not as smooth as this one. Obviously, the big feature with this new guy is this lightsaber. I don't know if this is really to scale, but I think they made it as big as they could. In fact, in this lightsaber, there's this very, very long white Technic axle that is helping keeping it together. I've never seen an axle that long before from Technic, so that was pretty cool to see. But one of the big things that's different, that's a definite improvement over the old model, is the fingers, the hands on the new Yoda. They actually move around, and it, you know, you can have him let go of the lightsaber. It's actually connected to other elements, so it's not going to fall out of his hands. But I thought that was pretty cool that the designer allowed us to actually move his fingers around. You can see the claws, whereas the 2002 model is just implied that these slopes are his hands. I guess the assumption is that his hands are like this on top of his cane, and he's just chilling there looking at you. On his feet, although they're mostly covered by his robe, you can see claws sticking out, whereas the new Yoda, wow, they went all out with his feet. In fact, let me pull one of these out and you can see, look at these dinosaur feet. Isn't that cool? I like it. They did a really good job, and it's kind of a shame because they're quite hidden underneath the model, so it's only his toes are sticking out, but they did a really good job of his feet, and it's a shame that they're not more visible. When looking at the back of the models, this is where the new model just leaves the old one in the dust. I mean, you look at the details, the proportions of this thing look so much better. I love the fact that they have all of his hair, his old gray or white hair in this case, on his head. It's kind of sporadic, like he's just barely hanging on to it, whereas the older model just didn't even bother with it. So let's say that you want to remove the lightsaber from Yoda's hands here. It's a bit of a process, but what I recommend doing is taking off his left hand here. Again, pretty cool how the fingers are movable, pretty sweet. And then we're going to just pull straight out from his arm socket there. There we go. He has some Technic elements that go right into those. And you undo his hands right here, but it's actually still stuck to his hand. You have to just pop that right off. Hopefully we can take it off without, yeah, there we go. So yeah, unfortunately you have to take off both of Yoda's hands in order to retrieve the lightsaber, but here it is. Now it does bend a little bit. I mean, I didn't expect this to be all that rigid, and I guess it's a little temperamental here at the base. But if it's too tall in the shelf that you want to display him in, I guess you can make it look like he's got it turned off, and all that you do for that is just remove this. I don't know if this is going to work or not. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there's that white element, that Technic element, and it goes all the way over here. That is so long, goodness. But yeah, here's the lightsaber turned off. So I guess you can just have it like that, which I think is pretty cool looking. If you want to have them displayed that way, that would also work. Let's talk facial features, and for that we're going to look at the new guy here. I think the biggest thing here are definitely going to be his eyes, right? Look at these eyes. They're kind of, I don't know, I can't really explain it, but he looks like he's wearing glasses. Because you have this darkness around, and that is because the designer had to leave some area open because he wanted the eyes to be interactive. So, for example, we want to have a sad Yoda. He's really sad about the way things are going with the Jedi, so there you go. Now let's tick him off like he's ready to fight Count Dooku or something. There we go. super angry eyes, and or if you want to scare the kids, that's an option there. I think it hits an element there, but you can push down and make him super duper angry. Oh man, look at that. He and maybe we put some red on there to there's a lot of things you can do with this guy. But let's just go with Content Yoda right now. There we go, nice and even. With the older guy though, he's got the beady little eyes. There's not a lot of interaction going on there. He's just saying, "Hey, what's up?" Well, as this Yoda, boy, you can sure have some fun with those eyes. Now, the rest of Yoda's head, though, it looks so much better on the new model as opposed to the old, and that is just because the designer made such good use of these sloped elements there all around. This is a very block. He's got kind of a block head, I guess. But man, so much better detail on the new model, which actually you'd expect that. I mean, you definitely don't want to go from this to this unless, of course, that's your style. This is still pretty cool. But I think this is taking advantage of what is available to Lego. You can kind of do a little dance. Ding, 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 there you go. But it's an interesting approach that they had here because you can't just move them back and forth without hitting other elements. You kind of hear that bam, bam, back and forth. But everything else except for the eyes, I think, look really good. His nose, his ears, his white hair on the back, all look really good in comparison. But yeah, two very different models, two very different approaches, but both the same Jedi Master. So here are the two instruction manuals. I don't have the box for this guy, so I can't compare those. But much thicker here with the newer model. Again, that is mostly because you're using a lot smaller pieces. Again, the grid approach, a very nice approach, very easy to follow along with. Whereas this guy is all about, stacking and stacking and stacking. There was a couple times where I had to backtrack a little bit. Like, wait, did I miss something? And that was especially when I was creating the layers and layers that you see here with those sand brick color elements. That is going to wrap it up for this build review and comparison of our Yodas here. I also have R2-D2 out as well as BB-8 for a size comparison if you are curious. Now, what I found was interesting with these two particular models of Yoda, the older one was labeled as an Ultimate Collector's Series set. However, our new guy here is not. For me, that's never been a big deal, but for some people that is, to have that UCS badge on the box. But I thought that was interesting. Now, there is a plaque for our new Yoda, but there is not for the old ones, so that goes to say that not all UCS models will have this plaque. It all just goes to show it's all about scale. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for now, and let me know what you guys would prefer. If you were to buy either of these sets for the same amount of money, $100, would you buy the 2019 or the original 2002? Let me know in the comments section below, and we'll see you guys in the very near future. Till then, bye-bye.